Something weird happens when you revisit an old project. Sometimes you open a script and think, wow, this is actually really good. And then 5 minutes later, you open another file and think, what absolute psychopath wrote this? That's basically been my experience coming back to this Unity project. This project has been in a weird cycle for over 2 years. I disappear for months, come back, work obsessively for a few weeks, disappear again. But this time is different. I committed to finishing this game before the end of the year. And before I can move forward, I need to clean up camp. One thing I've started doing differently this time around is treating the project more professionally. Instead of making random chaotic changes everywhere, I've been creating milestone commits and merge requests for major systems. And honestly, this has changed the way I think while developing. Because when you know you're about to commit something as a milestone, you naturally start asking yourself, is this actually clean? Does this system make sense? Would future me understand this? And trust me, future you is a person you do not want to hurt. I also imported the updated version of my custom core library into the project. This library has evolved a lot since I originally started this game. So bringing the newer architecture into this old project feels kind of like upgrading the game's nervous system. I also spent time updating namespaces. Back then, I honestly didn't structure projects as cleanly as I do now, and namespaces were kind of an afterthought. But now I care way more about organization and separation of systems. Especially in larger Unity projects, proper namespaces make everything easier to navigate, maintain, and scale. It's one of those things newer developers sometimes ignore because it feels unnecessary, until your project becomes massive. The most interesting part of revisiting old code is how your past self can simultaneously impress you and disappoint you. There were systems I opened where I genuinely thought, dang, this is actually elegant. Like, there are classes in this project where I honestly wouldn't change much, even today. And then there are other systems where I clearly thought I was cooking, but the implementation was absolutely terrible. Burnt dish. Kick them out the kitchen. But honestly, that's a good thing because it means I've improved. The scary thing would be revisiting code from years ago and thinking exactly the same way. Right now, this version of me feels experienced. This feels like my current peak knowledge per se. But realistically, 5 years from now, I'll probably revisit this code and think, dang, rookie mistakes. And I kind of love that because it means the journey never really ends. You know, I'm always improving, always getting better. There's always something new to learn. One of the biggest mindset shifts I've had as a developer is learning the value of simplicity. I used to think good engineering meant making everything hyper abstract, hyper protected, hyper encapsulated. And sometimes that just creates tightly coupled spaghetti disguised as clean architecture. My old save and load system was a perfect example of this. I was trying so hard to hide and protect everything that the entire system became difficult to maintain. So lately, I've been simplifying quite a bit aggressively. And weirdly enough, simpler systems often end up being better systems. Now, obviously, writing high quality software still matters a ton to me. Like, I care a lot about performance. I care a lot about architecture. I care about maintainability. But achieving those things without over engineering everything, that right there, that's the beautiful part. That balance between simplicity and quality honestly feels like an art form. One of the biggest rewrites has been the AI state machine. Originally, every AI state was implemented as its own mono behavior attached to game objects. At the time, I thought that was genius. But now I'm moving the state logic into standard C# scripts instead. This massively simplifies the architecture, improves performance. It's now easier to maintain. It reduces unnecessary scene complexity with game objects, for some reason representing states. Why did I do that? I don't know. But honestly, now it just feels cleaner. This is one of those changes that perfectly represents the entire direction of the project right now. Less complexity, better structure, clearer systems. So, yeah, this phase of development hasn't really been about adding flashy features. It's been about cleaning things up, removing friction, fixing old decisions, and creating a stronger foundation. And really enough, I think this is one of the most important stages of the entire project. Because every time I simplify a system, the game feels more finishable. And after 2 years, after 2 years of starting and stopping, that's what I care about most right now, finishing. If you're also revisiting an old project right now, I genuinely love to hear about it in the comments. Thanks for watching. Back to work.